Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is the Rice News analyst, Emmanuel Efeni. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Victoria Tundu, MQ Abiola. It's the weekend looking simple, no necklace. Is that a sign of protest?
No, not at all.
Okay. Because after a gorgeous week of necklace of all kinds.
Efeni, can you do what you are here for? I'm monitoring Tundu every day.
Yes, I do. I won't doubt. I won't deny that. Now, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Buhari to Johnson. No third term for me. First person who tried it didn't end well. Promises British Prime Minister he won't stay a day longer than his tenure. Says UK's help on security should start by first fixing Libya. Justifies the detention of Nnamdi Kanu, argues it's a flight risk. Begs Nigerians to be tolerant of each other. Lays writ at Kigali Genocide Memorial. Lord's economic, political relations between Nigeria and Jamaica. Yes, the President Muhammadu Buhari, attending the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. Well, I wonder, why was Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, asking that question? Are you contesting again? Was he ignorant of something or just trying to put a fast one on our president? Because clearly, I'm sure it's public knowledge that President Buhari will be completing his second term by May 29 next year, no more. But the president did not also miss the point to have a dig at somebody. It didn't end well with the first person who tried it. Well, I'm sure President, apparent reference to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who many believe is doing well as an elder statesman, as an international statesman, after leaving office. So the issue of it did not end well. I don't know where that is coming from. Yes, that attempt to amend the Constitution, which many felt then President Olusegun Obasanjo has something in the offing. Of course, it was thwarted. But thereafter, I thought everything went as planned. 2 terms, he was gone, and he's doing well at his presidential library in Abeokuta. Well, one of those side issues at this meeting, the president also had to meet with the Jamaican president and address a number of issues, including Nnamdi Kanu, who he said is a flight risk. Having jumped bail once, he cannot get bail. Let him defend all the things he was saying from the UK, the president said. Now, the other major story of the day, also on the front page of this day, Ekweremadu wife deny allegations of organ harvest. Lawyer says allegations serious, preposterous. Yes, other newspapers are also reporting this story. The New Telegraph newspaper, how Sonia's kidding problem landed Ekweremadu wife in UK court. Ex-deputy Senate president fully disclosed reasons for taking donor to London. I think that is quite key to the case. But it was a sad one to hear that former Deputy Senate President, 3-time Deputy Senate President, member of the Senate, had to go through what Ekweremadu and his wife were going through yesterday. Yes, as a Nigerian, it will shock you, it will alarm you, but I think until that case is disposed with. But what we know, the fact that that letter reaching to the British High Commission in Nigeria, full disclosure as to why the lad was being taken to the UK. So it's important as if there was a deception of the attempt there. But I would have thought that at the level of the High Commission, they should have also raised a red flag that what you are taking this young man to the UK for is not permissible in our country, and perhaps decline giving him the visa. But that was not done, and the law of the United Kingdom is being taken into consideration. Now, for a parent who wants to save a child that is critically ill, you feel sorry for the Ekweremadus. But again, we just wait and see how this unfolds in the court, how he can defend himself. He has his lawyers, the wife has her lawyers. And was boy 15 or 21, I'm sure there will also be effort to ascertain the true age of the lad in question. But I'll just move over to the Punch newspaper. Aggrieved National Assembly members plan showdown with governors over lost tickets. Senators who lost tickets to governors' aides plan for governorship National Assembly battles. Abiodun Fayemi Okowa's aides triumph in Ogun, Delta, Ekiti. Amosu's men lose out. Zamfara reps clinch PDP tickets after dumping APC. Accuse ruling party of cheating. Well, 70% of the National Assembly members will not be coming back, according to the fact that they did not get their party's ticket. But that is not the end of the battle, because some of them have since moved ahead to pick the ticket of other political parties ready to do battle with their party, the APC, that failed to give them return ticket, as it were. And those who are not picking tickets of other political parties are planning to work against the APC, according to this report. And the Daily Sun also capturing this story: tension deepens in APC over defection plan by lawmakers. Concerned legislators insist on moves despite Adamu's intervention. Party chair talks tough on 2023 presidential poll, Osun Goba. Yes, Vanguard newspaper, how we nabbed perpetrators of our massacre. Amoteku arrested several suspects, not ISWAP. Amoteku source recovers weapons, vehicles, nabbed 71 other criminals in 1 month. Yes, but Amoteku, they were parading suspects yesterday. I don't know whether they have powers to do that. And of course, lawyers have their say about parading people before you even take them to court against the law, you said? Right?
Yes, I have.
Now, the Guardian newspaper, federal government auto gas plant stalls amid costly diesel poor planning. Failure frustrates conversion scheme from diesel to CNG petrol engines. Federal government explains progress despite low enrollment. We can't afford 5 million naira per truck conversion rate. NATO, that's the National Association of Road Transport Workers, says Ipman, without petrol subsidy, Nigeria will have been paying 900 naira per liter. I'm sure some people will be saying that day should never come. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. The Times of London. Charles should keep open mind on Rwanda, says Prime Minister Johnson, and Prince Charles to meet amid AIDS frustration at migrant policy overshadowing royal visit. Yes, Boris Johnson reignited his row with the Prince of Wales over the government's policy to send migrants to Rwanda. And that issue seemed to be overshadowing the first visit of Prince Charles to Rwanda and the first Commonwealth meeting in 4 years. Royal aides are worried about this twist. Now, the Guardian newspaper, the Guardian of London, yes. Airport staff to strike as threat to disruption widens. Yes. BA staff voted 95% to participate in the strike. That may just ground Heathrow activities in this summer. Ruben Rufai and Tundu.
Well, that would be massively inconvenient, but I do have a lot of sympathy when you understand exactly what they're advocating. Why should they have to go through a 10% wage cut, really, in this day and, in this day and era with the cost of living crisis? Michael Wilson had this really alarming story about people spending £30 on a weekly shop. That really, I'm like, what are they eating? Maybe one grape each? Oh, well, it's really, really, it's terrible. But I wanted to talk about the shellacking that the Conservative Party got, two humiliations for Boris Johnson, who has said he's not stepping down. And I thought I might be imagining things, but I wasn't, because I did check. Just 3 years ago, June 2019, Rishi Sunak, Robert Jenrick, and Oliver Dowden, who has sensationally resigned today, had a letter published in the Times saying the Tories are in deep peril, only Boris Johnson can save us. So we can now see 3 years is an awfully long time in politics. But can he survive? I mean, this sort of obstinate, I'm not going anywhere, can only work for so long. I don't know what it's going to take for him to...
It doesn't rain, it's pouring for Boris Johnson.
It really is.
But he seems to be the only one who is not worried.
And now, yes, this disaster, and it's all the way in Rwanda.
No, I think so. What will happen is it'll mill on. Probably he'll do the end of his time if they don't call a snap election. But he
will never call a snap election.
He would have destroyed the Conservative Party's chances. But the question is Keir Starmer stepping up to it? No.
No, he's not.
What I probably think will happen is that maybe in the next elections, you probably have more Lib Dems in the House.
Definitely.
Because a lot of people are disgruntled with both the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, and they always look the way of Lib Dem. So I'm probably looking at the age of when we had Nick Clegg as Deputy Prime Minister and the Lib Dem.
But that was a disaster, wasn't
it? And the Lib Dem had,
that didn't work.
I think, over 50 seats in the House then. So I'm probably looking at that scenario. But I'm not saying, despite the Conservative Party might be destroyed, I'm not saying Labour taking it full on.
No,
probably,
because I thought it would be a better performance for Labour.
Yeah, worst case scenario, probably next election will probably be a hung parliament again, or they'll split down the middle. I don't know, but Boris Johnson is not it this time.
Okay, let's come to our own situation here. You took a story from Punch,
yes,
in which you were talking about aggrieved members of the National Assembly planning to defect, and yesterday we discussed this, a gale of defections.
Some have already defected.
From the APC to the PDP, from the PDP to the NNPP.
And Labour Party.
And the main reason was that these persons who are defecting in the National Assembly, they're changing the balance, the power balance there. The ruling party, someone was even pointing out, may end up becoming a minority party if care is not taken. But the issues, as articulated by them, the aggrieved persons, include lack of justice, lack of internal democracy, the overbearing attitude of some governors and stakeholders. One even said that in his own constituency, he's treated like a small boy by other people who think that they are more powerful. You have the cases of Akpabio in Akwa Ibom State, and you have in Yobe North, Senate President Ahmad Lawan and Amane saying that he will go to court. I saw a story this morning with the APC chairman warning Amane to behave himself. Okay, Machina. So these are some of the issues, that you have out there. And some of them will probably do anti-party. Politicians will tell you this happens every political season. But the scale this time around, with 70% of the people there losing their seats, particularly to persons that were put forward by the governors in the states. And someone was saying, well, it looks like poetic justice for the lawmakers, because they came up with a new law. But the new law, they forgot to take care of their own interests. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, they scored an own goal against themselves. But what is even more concerning is the fact that if you look at many of the people who have been given the ticket going to the National Assembly of Nigeria, there are at least 26 former governors on that list. So going to the National Assembly, picking up the ticket, liaising with the incumbent governor and saying, give me a ticket, has become standard practice. So we run a risk whereby the National Assembly of Nigeria will become a retirement home for former governors and former military officers and all kinds of former people who should be at home. Or they will say, okay, they have the right to contest too. But is it possible, as some people have argued, to come up with some form of legislation that, look, people who are retired governors probably should not come. But of course, the argument that will be that they have the right.
They have the right, they are politicians.
That they have the right to come back. But the number is increasing. No. It looks like a privileged class. And the more unfortunate thing is that many of them that are there currently, if you count the number of people who go there to sleep off during serious discussions. These people most of them fall into that category.
Some don't even show up at plenary.
So this is the thing. It's worrisome.
They just want to have a second address in Abuja.
Yeah, we can talk about rights, but we should not be recruiting people who will go to National Assembly and will be dozing during serious discussions, or will be absent from plenary most of the time and claim that they are doing committee work. Now, you quoted the meeting. You quoted the meeting between Boris Johnson and President Buhari.
Yes.
Okay, apparently maybe the Prime Minister doesn't know that there are term limits in Nigeria, that someone cannot do more than 2 terms. So maybe that was why he asked that question.
That was an odd question.
Yeah, maybe he thought you can keep running. And the president said, well, according to the report too, that Femi Adesina released, that the man who tried it the other time didn't do well.
Didn't end well.
Didn't end well.
I wouldn't say so of OBJ.
Well, I hope.
I would.
I hope he will not get an attack.
It did not end well.
I hope he will not.
Not now, but at the time, it was a huge embarrassment. It was a complete debacle. The failed third term agenda.
No, he completed his tenure as 2-term president, and he left gloriously, honorably, and retired to Abeokuta, where he's holding court, playing football, very strong.
Yes, and all of that. But the attempt failed woefully. I'm sure that's what he's referring to.
Well, I hope it was the attempt that the president was referring to, and not the totality of President Obasanjo's post, office life.
Well, I won't
because that would be very difficult to sustain.
Adesina's capacity to write correctly. That's what he wrote.
But my understanding of it is that the attempts failed in spite of the best efforts. In fact, in spite of really plumbing the depths of decency in those efforts, it failed woefully.
Well, but President Obasanjo has consistently denied that he was not part of any third-term agenda. That's his position.
Yes,
he never tried
anything. Because what they were trying to do then was to do 6-year, 1-term 6-year, and the assumption was that Obasanjo will start it.
Anyway,
I'm really convinced you can see
we seem to be running out of time, if any. Although President Buhari talked about other things, about IPOP, about security concerns, about partnership between the UK and Nigeria. Those ones are not likely to be
Britain
too controversial.
Should help fix Libya so that we'll have security in Nigeria.
Okay, but he said other things. It wasn't just about Obasanjo and third term. Anyway, thank you very much, Emmanuel Ekweremadu.